There's probably going to be some bad language in this, so you might not want to let the kids watch. How you doing? My name's Dom. I'm a bit of a wino and I like to rant, so hopefully you'll like to listen. Now this one, I can already see the pitchforks coming in the distance. But my hot take today is that George Masvidal is not a BMF. Now, hold on there. I'm not saying he's not a bad motherfucker. He definitely is a bad motherfucker. Anyone who steps into not just the octagon, but any professional or amateur mixed martial arts contest is a bad motherfucker. It's something that most people, wouldn't have the courage to do. And the fact that Jorge's not only done that, but he's got to such a high level, shows he truly is a bad motherfucker. Also, his upbringing in a rough neighborhood, his coming up through street fights, that's a bad motherfucker thing, man. He's a bad motherfucker in the sense of what a normal bad motherfucker is. This video is to argue he's not a bad motherfucker in the marketing sense that they tried to put across when they made the BMF title. I think he's done a great job of creating a persona that pushes he is that type of BMF, but the type of BMF that they tried to say earned that belt wasn't just someone who, was a badass and could fight. One thing they continuously said it specifically meant was someone who would fight anywhere, anyone, anytime. Which brings me a little bit to say, someone who fits that mold is Cowboy Cerrone, and he's got to be a little fucking angry that they took his acronym and gave it to someone else. Well, they gave two people the chance of getting it. But, the man created a whole ranch called the BMF Ranch. He's the one who started the whole BMF thing, and then you decide to give Masvidal and Diaz a crack at this made-up BMF title. And Cerrone truly does fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. Neither Nate or Jorge do that. Nate, ever since beating Conor, I'm not hating on it. I probably do the same thing. He'll fight once a year, maybe less, because he makes so much money off it now. He built such a name off that win. And it's actually admirable. And you can say the same about Jorge. Now, another thing that a BMF would be is the gangster persona that Jorge's built around himself, and there is truth to it. Like I said before, with the street fights, with the way he grew up, I'm not denying that he's got that built into him. But the way he's managing his career now is not in that realm, and I'll get to it later. And the last thing is fighting style. And I will say the fighting style he's had over the last couple of years definitely falls into the BMF category. He may have been kind of point fighter-ish earlier on. And there's even some fights he's had in recent years where not quite as exciting as the ones that kind of launched him into stardom. But usually it's the opponent nullifying his game that stops him being able to have that BMF fight style. Damian Maia backpacking him, Wonderboy Thompson stopping him from being able to get in his range and just sticking him from the outside, doing his point fighting style, which I love. I'm not criticizing it at all. I absolutely love Wonderboy. And then most recently, Kamaru, just out wrestling him and stopping him being able to do anything. But, his knockout, back to Masvidal now, his knockout of Till, his knockout of Ben Askren clearly, and then his absolutely amazing performance against Nate Diaz. Look, that fighting style, yes, that is BMF. But my arguments for why he's not BMF in the marketing sense, once again, let me make that clear, is, firstly, the anyone, anywhere, anytime. he's clearly not that. Like, he's clearly very calculated in how he's managing his career right now. And I think that's a very smart thing to do. I think that's probably the right thing to do, business-wise. But it's not what they told us a BMF was. Then we move on to the gangster persona. And where I think he falls down most here is he's got heated rivalries with people that in the media he's always talking about how much he wants to kick their ass and how much it's on side if I ever see you out, Colby Covington especially. But he doesn't want to accept fights with them in the cage. Colby was calling him out constantly after his last win. Colby thinks he deserves a title shot, but he's like, I'll go fight George. Like, we've got unsettled business. The BMF, with how much he hates Colby, should be accepting that challenge, should be taking that fight. It's not a BMF thing to do, to sit back and negotiate a title fight with Usman instead of going and kicking the ass of this person you supposedly hate and can't stand and have a huge rivalry with. Now, once again, I think it was the smart thing to do to sit back and work out this deal with Usman, because Jorge knows the value of his name right now. So he knows Usman's probably going to want that fight more than anyone else. Like, champions nowadays seem to have that power to, not completely, but to a certain degree, pick and choose who their opponent's going to be. Jorge didn't even earn the title shot the first time. It was Gilbert Burns' title shot, but Gilbert got injured and Jorge came in on late notice, and now he's cleverly used that late notice as a reason to sit back and say, I deserve a rematch, as well as what I already mentioned, knowing that he's the money fight for Usman, and Usman's probably going to want that fight, especially because the way Usman dominated the first and how their styles already match up, Usman's going to feel pretty confident about winning it and know he's going to get some good pay-per-view points on that fight. So it's not a dumb thing to do to sit back and go for the title against Usman. It's not a cowardly thing to do either, because Usman is such a badass. Anyone who's stepping in the cage against that man has plenty of cojones. But dodging Colby and dodging Leon Edwards is not a BMF thing to do. And I bring up Leon Edwards, and I'm sure most people remember, because this was kind of the rise of the media persona BMF that we see today, which was after that amazing knockout of Till. He was giving an interview backstage, and Leon, who'd also won on that card, yelled something out to him, and Jorge walked up to him, just left the interview and walked up to him and served him the famous 3-piece and a soda, which was definitely a BMF thing to do. Now, there were plenty of people in like security and everything like that, teams, to break them up and not have anything happen. Masvidal won that confrontation, but he didn't win a fight there. People afterwards were going, oh, Masvidal kicked his ass. He landed, I think, 3 strikes, maybe. He only threw about that much, whether 3 of them landed. And I guarantee you, at least 95, 99% of Leon's fights, he's absorbed more than 3 strikes. And if there are any he hasn't, it's probably because he knocked the other dude out. You know, so landing 3 strikes on Leon doesn't mean you beat him up. And Leon was constantly calling for a fight with Colby. The storyline was there. The aggravation between them was there. But Jorge just didn't want to pursue that, and he instead went for Ben Askren, who he believed he had a stylistic advantage over. I'm sure Askren believed he had the stylistic advantage over Masvidal with the wrestling, and turned out George was right. He did have that stylistic advantage. But the BMF thing to do in that situation would have been to book a fight against Leon straight after that little stoush backstage. So not fighting Leon, not fighting Colby, both goes into the anywhere, anyone, anytime thing. And it also goes into the not living up to his on-site reputation, because if he'd go at you on-site, he should be willing to go at you in a cage where there's no one else to get between you except the referee when one of you has finished the fight. That being said, if George can beat Kamaru this weekend, no matter how he does it, I don't necessarily see it happen. I think it's going to look very similar to the first fight. I just think, Kamaru's striking is even better than it was then, so he should be able to strike his way into the clinch pretty well. And as long as Kamaru hasn't fallen in love with his hands too much and falls into the trap of trying to actually strike with Masvidal, because I don't think that'll be the best idea. Not saying he couldn't do it, but I'm saying that's not the smartest path to victory. I can just see Kamaru dominating him with grappling against the cage once again. But if Jorge can win that, I'll take back what I've said here and I'll say he is a BMF, because just the mere fact of beating that absolute beast that is Usman right now should earn anyone the title of BMF. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And hopefully, yeah, at least we'll take into consideration the points I've made here. And once again, I'm not criticizing Jorge. I think he's making a lot of smart moves. They're just not BMF moves. So I'm the Wino. Hope you enjoyed my rant, and see you again probably after the weekend, after we've seen some fights. Have a good one.